Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Report, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Now, let's look at some of the individual stocks on the move today here in Europe. I'm Caroline Hepke and I'm joined by Bloomberg reporter Chloe Millay. Chloe, good morning.
Good morning.
So the French market doing very, very well thanks to a bit more political optimism. I mean, let's see how long it lasts, but at least for now, the French names are up and LVMH in particular is up. Tell us more.
Yeah, LVMH is up and the broader luxury sector is up this morning on hopes that it might be turning a corner. So LVMH, which is obviously very much a bellwether for that industry, had sales return to growth in the third quarter, which was a positive surprise given expectations of a continued decline after a couple of tough quarters for LVMH. Sales at all divisions actually exceeded estimates, including the fashion and leather goods unit, which is the most important one. And even the wines and spirit division, which was struggling for a while, also posted revenue growth. It's also worth noting that sales in China, in the region that includes China, rose 2%, which is a big turnaround for a region that has seen so much weakness as well over the last couple of years. So analysts are saying that this is really a step in the right direction for both LVMH and that kind of wider luxury sector, and showing maybe that the slowdown in luxury demand might be easing a little bit and that a pickup in China in particular might be on the horizon. So we saw other massive jumps in other luxury names like Kering and Hermes, Christian Dior that you mentioned as well. So we'll see if this materializes as kind of a sector-wide story when we get more earnings coming through the next few weeks.
Yeah, that's going to be a very busy time, isn't it? The CAC count overall, though, up by the most since at least May. Overall up by 2.4% this morning. I mean, that's also partly, so it's idiosyncratic, it's to do with those individual names, but it's also with Le Cornu, the Prime Minister, getting the backing of the Socialists and maybe being able to get through at least the next immediate political hurdle of these two no-confidence votes tomorrow. We've also been looking at the orders for the Dutch chip equipment maker ASML. This is the other hugely important part of the market story at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So expectations were very high going into the earnings for ASML. We had seen a really massive rally in the shares over the last month or so. And by and large, ASML delivered. So orders, as you mentioned, beat expectations in the third quarter. That was driven by massive investments in AI that kind of lead to growing demand for the chip making machines. The boom in AI spending is a direct boost for ASML because it is the only company that makes the very specific machines that are needed to produce the most sophisticated chips. So it's a very positive update. And we can see that reflected in the shares this morning. There is one tougher spot, which is China. The outlook for 2026 in general is cautious because sales to China are expected to decrease significantly in 2026. And that has to do with ASML being hit by those restrictions on what it can sell to China, given that the US is trying to kind of rein in the chip industry there because it sees it as a threat to national security. So there will be disruptions for ASML coming from that to watch out for as well.
Okay. Stellantis and a big plan to expand in the US.
Yeah, it will invest $13 billion in the US over the next 4 years. So it'll do that to kind of try and curb the impact of tariffs and reinforce its presence in the US market. This investment was expected. Bloomberg had reported earlier this month that Stellantis was set to announce an investment of about $10 billion. This is the confirmation, and this is really driving the shares up this morning. It's quite an ambitious attempt by Stellantis to try and rebuild a really struggling business in the US. The previous management had kind of prioritized investments in Europe. It moved manufacturing to Mexico. So now we see a big strategy shift back to the US with US built products and trying to appeal to US consumers. So the plan is to introduce 5 new models over those next 4 years and to try and get Americans to buy its Jeep SUVs again. So let's see if it works. In any case, unions in the US are very happy for what it means for workers. We're talking about 5,000 factory jobs, so quite significant.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.